What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim back with another video, here to give you guys my thoughts on Quakecon 25, not the 25th anniversary, actually Quakecon 25. A little bit of an inside joke there on the naming of the event. What I can say, regardless of what you want to call it, was this was the first ever Quakecon at home. And basically, due to COVID, Bethesda decided that they still wanted to hold a Quakecon event. But unfortunately, due to COVID, they ended up doing everything virtually. So it was 3 days full of streaming. And I want to give you guys some thoughts on it because I'm a huge Bethesda fan. And I have to say, they really pulled this off. Yes, there were some things that they can improve on, and I will talk about that. But I want to first talk about the event as a whole. So we'll go ahead and jump over here. The official QuakeCon page is still up. It'll probably be up for quite a while. Amongst other things, they had multiple streams running. They had many, many languages, not just English here in North America. They had a Dutch stream and a Spanish stream and some other ones as well with tons of content. And QuakeCon really is just a celebration of Quake, really more than anything, which is, part of Bethesda. But it's really evolved into so much more, and it really is kind of like a fan fest. Don't think of it like an E3. You're not going to get tons of announcements or tons of news, although sometimes they drip a little bit of news out here. Like I remember last year, QuakeCon's big reveal was Doom Eternal's multiplayer mode. You didn't get any of that this year. This was just basically a, hey, let's all celebrate games and talk about games. So I think the best way to kind of show you what it was is to go through some of the schedule with you guys. Now, as I mentioned, this is already over, but I really like this, and I probably watched, I'd say, a good 15 hours of this over 3 days. They had some really cool things. They had panels on Elder Scrolls Online. So if you've played the latest expansion, Greymore, you know that Jennifer Hale plays a very significant role in the game as one of the voice actors. Robbie Damon does as well. And they had this really cool panel discussion with them, talking to them about their experience. And it basically was a live stream format, so just like you've seen on all your favorite YouTube interviews, just like when Phil and I do our weekly show, they had little squares for everybody, and they were all talking and asking questions and interacting with chat and giving away prizes, and that was really, really cool. They did another really cool event, which was there was a live stream of Fallout 76, where some of the design team went through and defeated a boss event known as the Colossal Problem, which was really a lot of fun to watch. And as you can see here, I'm not going to read every single one of them, but they highlight all of their major franchises: Doom, Prey, Elder Scrolls Online. And what was cool is, they went through and they had some really fun streams. One that really stuck out to me was the cooking stream where they actually cooked, which was really, really funny. They had some really funny one where they did a creative camp building with this guy basically showing you all these crazy ways to make these really funny camps in Fallout 76. Like the meat cannon, which basically launched chunks of meat into the air, and these death trap rooms where you had to solve a math problem before the room exploded, stuff like that. They also had some really cool panels where they went through and talked about some of the design philosophy of their games as well, which was really interesting to watch. So if you guys didn't know, I'm a huge Arcane fan. And they had a really cool stream on Arcane, celebrating Arcane 20 with some of the creators to talk through, some of the philosophies on level design and combat. They basically did like a let's play, and they talked to you about it and explained why are assets in certain places and why is combat kind of the way that it is. And it was really, really cool. I really did enjoy a lot of it. And it's just a fan fest celebration. Some of the things I really liked about QuakeCon this year, it was a lot more accessible to get to than in the past. Obviously, Take that with a grain of salt because it wasn't in a physical venue. But Quakecons in the past typically have been, in Texas, and it's hard, obviously, to get there, but they don't constantly stream things. You might get the opening ceremony, and then you might get snippets of some of the tournaments. But typically, a lot of the day-to-day stuff is just for fans locally there. And you'll find out about it through gaming news websites and other podcasts that covered it. But you typically don't find just this much interaction. I thought that was something that was really, really cool. And honestly, with COVID going on and many of us being stuck at home, it was really a nice escape to just celebrate some of these games. Another thing that I really liked as a result of that, it was the sheer amount of fan interaction. The amount of questions that they fielded from chat was insane. And at any given time, I saw the Twitch feed from as low as about 8,000 or 9,000 to as much as about 40,000 to 50,000. So it's being spammed, but they were fielding some good questions. A lot of the streams did voting polls and buttons where you could vote on, like they had one where it was a creative drawing, and it's like, what do you want us to draw? Should it be a man or a woman? What race do you want it to be? So you could vote on stuff like that. They did a lot of giveaways. They had some really funny streamers come on, and they would stream part of the game, and got to meet some of them and talk with them. And it was just a nice way to celebrate all things Bethesda. And in all honesty, Bethesda's had a rough couple of years. I think really after Fallout 76, you could argue that Bethesda has been getting beat up pretty bad. And I know I have been critical of them in the past, but I think really through Elder Scrolls Online and really playing Fallout 76 with a lot of my friends, even with all the problems that the game does have, it's really become, I'm really, really falling in love with Bethesda again. I'm incredibly excited for Deathloop, as I think many people are. I'm really invested in Arcane in general, so the Arcane 20, that's really a lot of fun. Logging in and playing Prey again and checking out Moon Crash again and playing through Dishonored. It's just, those are games that are like my comfort games. So for me, it's just like a lot of soul food, and I really do like that. But it wasn't all rainbows and butterflies. There are a few things that were a little weird. They did these really funny little vignettes with Pete Hines, where basically it was showing him like doing mundane tasks during like in between streams. So like you'd see him washing dishes or taking out the garbage or, pushing his kid on a swing, which was funny, but they didn't have enough of those. And I know that sounds funny, but when you're watching these streams as long as I am, and as I mentioned, I watch them quite a bit, the B-roll that kind of was in between the streams just wasn't there. Ultimately, what ended up happening is you would see the same things over and over. They showed the same trailer for Elder Scrolls Greymoor probably 5 or 6 times in between streams because they just didn't have any filler content, which I feel like there are so many places to draw upon that content that you kind of lost that. What really accentuated that problem was that a lot of these panels didn't go the full length. So if I jump back to the schedule briefly, for example, like the Doom Eternal Ultra Nightmare with Achievement Hunter, that one didn't exactly go an hour and a half. I know the Pray Tell had a lot of issues when it launched, which understandable. There's times that these streams and stuff, fire up, but it ended early. So it wasn't like 6 o'clock we had Pray Tell and 7:30 Hugo and Marty came on to talk about Doom Eternal. There was like a 30-minute gap in between there. And the problem was, in between that gap, they just showed the same 2 or 3 filler materials over and over and over and over again. And I feel like this would have been a great way to highlight some of the smaller streams or some of the smaller YouTubers putting out original content. It's very easy to find this stuff. It's very easy to email me and say, hey, Jim, we want to borrow, your little 5-minute video on how you built your Fallout camp. Can we just inject it in the stream? We'll just put your, like that, right? We'll put your tag in there so everybody can see it, might get some clicks, and it's just new content. I remember going to the Halo Championship Series in person and huge Halo 5 fan. And they had the same problem there too. I just feel like maybe these companies don't realize that people who are very, very invested in these companies watch these streams for hours on end. And it really did monopolize our weekend. My wife and I were addicted. We went through this entire schedule. We were highlighting things that we wanted to watch. And I feel like that's kind of where it got a little frustrating. If I could close in anything, I'll just say that it was really fun. It did lead into some really funny moments on stream. There were some awesome panels. There was some original art that was given away, drawn and given away, which was beautiful. It was really fun to see the kind of creative side of these games. Fun to watch the Let's Play with like Pete Hines and some of the other developers working through the games that they developed. That was fun. They had some fun speed challenges and some podcast kind of stuff. They have a huge sale going on every platform right now. It ends tomorrow. Of all of their major franchises, Wolfenstein and Elder Scrolls and Fallout and Doom. Anything Bethesda makes, you can get on sale. They had a really nice gear store. They were donating. Basically, if you donated money to these charities, you'd be entered into raffles. They sent all that money to these great charities. So very, very exciting. I really like Quakecon, and mostly I wanted to do this video partially as a review of Quakecon, partially as a love letter, partially as maybe some things to think about in the future. I hope that Quakecon is in person next year. I would love to go at some point. I still have yet to go. But if they decide that they want to do another virtual thing, I think this was a phenomenal start for them. And it really did open up a lot of these really cool panels to people who don't get to go. And it really did shine a light on what a great company Bethesda is. So I stand by their products. I love them. I'm so excited for what they do next. And that's it for this video. I hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope you watched this and it warmed your heart in the same way it warmed mine. Maybe it reinvigorated your love for some of these IPs that you haven't played in a while. But if not, and you're like, whatever, well, that's okay, to each their own. But this was actually one of those live events, I thought, that really did matter. And it really did kind of bring the community together in a positive way. And I'm really happy for that and happy to be a part of that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.